So this Daredevil news, you could say, and to say in the words of Kingpin, I am displeased in the matter. So in case you didn't know, Marvel Studios has apparently fired the showrunners, the writers, and the directors for Daredevil Born Again. They've scrapped the entire show. They're going to keep some of the footage they filmed, and they're going to rework it into a new story, and they're essentially redoing Daredevil Born Again. And their main reason for scrapping the whole project was that they were looking at the rushes that they'd filmed before the writers and actors strike, and they were looking at it and they realized that it wasn't that good, and it wasn't as interesting or exciting as the Netflix show. And I just find that whole excuse to be hilarious, because apparently Disney doesn't want to rehire the old showrunners and creators of the Netflix Daredevil because they don't want to pay them a 4th season contract, which I just think is so stupid. They'll happily waste hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars on these episodes for Daredevil Born Again and scrap it, rather than just pay the increase of salary for the showrunners, the writers, and the actors. It honestly just has me asking and begging the question of what the hell is going on at Disney and Marvel Studios. If Marvel Studios and Disney had issues with the way that the Daredevil show was being made and created before they even started rolling, then why did they give them the go-ahead to start shooting if they weren't happy with the scripts? Because apparently in the material that they shot, the first 4 episodes were essentially just boring legal drama, and then Matt Murdock would suit up as Daredevil in episode 4, and that part just doesn't make any sense to me either, because he was Daredevil in She-Hulk. They played the Netflix theme. He was essentially in the Daredevil costume. How is he not Daredevil in his own show? I just find it funny how Marvel Studios was just like, oh, it's not as action-packed as the Netflix show. Like, how do you not notice that before you started rolling? But also, if you want to make the Netflix show, just go and hire the old people that made the Netflix show. It would cost you less and you would save more money. I'm just an independent filmmaker. I make my own small little projects on the side, okay? I don't know how the big budget bookkeeping works, but something seems to be going wrong, because I've been noticing this pattern and trend a lot with Disney and Marvel Studios. Why are their budgets so massively inflated? On the one hand, I do admire the fact that the executives over at Marvel Studio looked at the dailies, looked at the footage, and was just like, it's not working, we have to start again. I admire that, because at least they know that it wasn't working. But then on the other hand, how did you not notice that before you started filming and wasted all this money? Honestly, I see this whole situation as a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, apparently the stuff they were doing wasn't very interesting and it wasn't very good, and apparently they killed off Foggy in the first episode and that Karen just wasn't even in the show, which I just find so baffling and so weird, especially when you look at the cast for this show. Like, you're bringing back Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, you're bringing back my boy Charlie Cox as Daredevil, you're bringing back John Bernthal as Punisher, you're even bringing back smaller tier characters like Brett. Like, do you remember Sergeant Brett from the Netflix show? Yeah, apparently he is in this show. But they won't bring back Karen and Foggy because the actors want to get paid, and for some reason the people at either Marvel or Disney were just like, we don't need them, they're not integral to the show. When you watch the Netflix Daredevil show, and one of the reasons why fans love and adore that show is because how that show treated Karen and Foggy, and you grow to love these characters. You love all 3 of them together. The way Daredevil season 3 ended, it ended with Matt, Karen and Foggy going into business together, Nelson, Murdock and Paige. It literally felt like the beginning of a new chapter for the 3 of them, and apparently in this show they just wanted to get rid of it like that. Kill off Foggy, Karen just doesn't exist, or like she's mentioned but not really mentioned. What are they doing? If they wanted to make something so radically different to the Netflix Daredevil, then honestly, why bring back Vincent D'Onofrio and why bring back Charlie Cox? I know that both of them have said and alluded to the point that they're playing similar characters, like they're the same but they're different, like they've been through similar stuff but they also haven't been through similar stuff. Like on paper, at their core, they are the Matt Murdock from the Netflix show and they are the Wilson Fisk from the Netflix show, but also there are like slight and small subtle differences because they're in the MCU now. But the thing is that the Netflix show is very self-contained, but it also fits into the MCU, so I don't know what they're doing. Also, it's just even more confusing because all the Netflix Marvel stuff is on Disney Plus now. Disney have the rights because they're co-owners. They waited for the rights to lapse at Netflix and now they put it on Disney Plus. Disney owns these shows. So the question I have to ask now is, why do they not consider it canon? They literally own this stuff. When the shows were being made, I believe it was Jeff Loeb who was running them at Marvel Entertainment. He said that they were essentially tangential to the MCU films. And they were, but the films never referenced them. But they were. And then you get to Daredevil and She-Hulk, and Charlie Cox plays that character the exact same. He feels exactly like Matt Murdock from that show. There's nothing in She-Hulk that contradicts the fact that Matt Murdock is not with Karen and Foggy back in New York. He's literally just in, I think they're in LA or something. He's in the city She-Hulk's in so he can get a new suit and do some like lawyer work, whatever. And then he goes back to New York. So I don't know why they can't just say that the Netflix shows are canon, because like, They kind of are. But I mean, the thing that just rubs me the wrong way the most is the fact that they got rid of Karen and Foggy from the show just because. And I'm hoping now that this do-over is going to mean that they are going to bring back Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Woll as Karen and Foggy, because they are essential and integral to Daredevil's character. It's just going to be weird to have a Daredevil show without Karen and Foggy, and at this point, if they wanted to make something so radically different, they might as well have just recast and rebooted Daredevil as a whole. Like, although I love and adore Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin and Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock and Daredevil, like, again, I think both of them are definitive perfect casting. You can recast. Other actors are available and can play Matt Murdock. You didn't have to get Charlie Cox unless you wanted to specifically entice and excite the Netflix Daredevil fans. Like, you saw the hype campaigns of Save Daredevil, and they had all these charity events, and Charlie Cox got involved, and the cast got involved. People want more of the Netflix Daredevil show. So I don't know why Disney was just like, oh, we're going to make something that's radically different, and we're going to kill off all the main characters that people love, like Karen and Foggy. No. People love these characters, but the reason why we wanted Daredevil saved is because we want more of that show. And if the excuse that Disney didn't want to pay the original creators and showrunners for a season 4 contract, and so they rebooted the show so they could start fresh with the actors and give them a early baseline salary, I think that's scummy. I don't think that's cool at all. Like, it's not like these showrunners and creators were not going to give you quality. You are paying for quality. It's like if I just went up to Steven Spielberg and I was like, hey, Stevie Spee, here's 10 million, make a film of your choice, I don't care. I will be happy with my investment because I know it's going to be, you know, like 9 times out of 10, it's going to be quality. If you want to give me Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, give it to me, but also give me Eldon Henson as Foggy and give me Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page. Look, you're giving me back John Bernthal as Punisher. I love that. I do.
That is my best friend. That's a man that I love. I love him like he's my brother.
I love John Bernthal as Punisher. I love John Bernthal as an actor. I'm excited for him to be in this show. But also, I want Karen and Foggy too. In the Netflix continuity, Karen is important to Frank Castle as well. So why would you ignore her or write her out of the show? That doesn't make any sense. Look, some of the old set pictures of the principal photography of Daredevil Born Again look very nice. I love Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock's new outfit. It looks great. I love Wilson Fisk's new outfit. Looks great. Apparently the show is supposed to tease and set up Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4. Like, apparently the show is about Wilson Fisk trying to reclaim his good name. He's going to become mayor of New York, and it ends with him becoming mayor of New York, and Daredevil's trying to stop him, and that leads into Spider-Man 4 where it's Daredevil and Spider-Man teaming up to take down Wilson Fisk. That sounds cool. That sounds fun. That sounds interesting. That sounds unique. That sounds very much what Marvel needs right now. They need to deviate from not just the big, grand, epic multiverse scale, but they also need to do some grounded stuff. They need to do some funny stuff. They also need to do some serious stuff. Because the Marvel Comics is just such a diverse universe. There are different tones, different genres, different flavors, and you need that. The problem with the MCU is that everything pretty much feels the same, and it's very stale. Give me my neo-noir Daredevil show. Give me my deep, methodical, philosophical, theological Daredevil show where Matt Murdock is dealing with his Catholic guilt whilst also dealing with the devil and anger and darkness inside him. Give me more of Daredevil Season 2, Episode 3. You know, the episode where Frank Castle and Matt Murdock are talking on the rooftop and they're debating morality and ethics? Give that to me. I need that. I've said this before in my superhero films need to change thing, and I was talking specifically about Marvel Studios. I equated the Netflix Daredevil show as a diamond ring, and that diamond ring has been taken from me. So if Marvel Studios wants to apologize and give me a different ring, I'm not expecting anything less than a diamond ring. Daredevil Born Again has to be good as, if not better than the Netflix show. Because again, I hold that first season in such high regard. I think it is a perfect story. Season 2 is just as great, though it's a bit shaky. Some of the hand stuff isn't amazing, but I still love it. And Season 3 is just as good as Season 1, although I still slightly prefer Season 1 because I think Season 1 is just, I don't know, it's just tightly done. And that's the thing, if the people at Marvel thought they could just go in and deliver us a half-baked show and go, there you go, Daredevil's back, we wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept it. And so I'm glad that Kevin Feige walked in and saw the dailies, saw the rushes, and was just like, no, this isn't working. We need to change. Because again, the Netflix show is perfect, and Kevin Feige knows that fans aren't expecting anything less than perfect. And the thing is, the show doesn't need to be violent. It doesn't need to be bloody and gory. That would be nice. But you can do Daredevil in a PG-13 rating. Daredevil originated in the Stan Lee era of comic books, where it was just big, fun, bombastic action. It can be done. Look at the Ben Affleck film. I know that's not an amazing example, but I kind of like that film. Like, it's not amazing or anything, but it's fun. Yes, it's dated, but that's kind of the aesthetic and style of that film. That, like, you know, early 2000s grunge. It has an aesthetic. I like it. I mean, does it have scenes like the playground fight? Yes, but I think Ben Affleck is a good Daredevil. Jennifer Garner is very good, and she was also very attractive in that film. Colin Farrell as Bullseye was just insane, and I loved it. Bullseye. Michael Clark Duncan was a great Kingpin. Overall, the vibe of that film was good. The aesthetic of that film is good. It's just that some of the writing is just a bit wonky. But the point is that Daredevil doesn't have to be super bloody in order to be impactful. It just has to be sophisticated. You look at the Dark Knight trilogy, and there isn't a lot of blood, there isn't a lot of gore. It's just Christopher Nolan being a very economic filmmaker. In The Dark Knight, when the Joker is torturing people, you don't see the torture, you just see it off screen, you see the impact of what he's done. You don't need to see the Joker cutting into the guy's face, the camera cuts away, but the intent is implied. You just need to be mature and sophisticated with your filmmaking and your storytelling. Now, I'm not saying that the blood and gore doesn't serve a purpose in the Netflix Daredevil show, but for this to be a relaunch of Daredevil to fit into the MCU aesthetic, it can be done. You just need to be sophisticated with your writing and your storytelling. Be purposeful with your camera movements. Be purposeful with your action and your choreography. You need the show to be visually stunning, not a CGI mess. You need your dialogue to be punchy. I mean, one of my favorite things about the Netflix Daredevil show is just how quotable it is, but also just how hard the dialogue goes.
Good and evil. Sometimes the difference between the two is a sharp line. Sometimes it's a blur.
She used to say, be careful of the Murdoch boys. They got the devil in them. I'm not seeking penance for what I've done, Father. And I'm asking forgiveness for what I'm about to do.
Do you believe in the devil, Father?
Only I do the one thing that you can't. You hit them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down. It's permanent.
God rained shit and misery on the life of his most perfect servant, and still, Job would not curse him. I am what I do in the dark now. I bleed only for myself.
Come here now! God knows I want you, but you don't get to destroy who I am.
Don't shy away from Matt Murdock's Catholicism, because that is who that character is. You need that in that story. The thing is, Marvel has done it before. You look at Winter Soldier, you look at Civil War, that kind of tone fits Daredevil. Just no more MCU humor, please. Like, Daredevil is so important, and you can't mess it up. Daredevil is one of, if not is, Marvel's best character aside from Spider-Man. At least he's my second favorite Marvel character. I love Daredevil. He means so much to me. His comics are so well done. Heck, you look at the Frank Miller comics, right? That's how you do a Daredevil show. You don't have to be, dark and bloody and violent. Just be stylistic with your camera work, your lighting. If you took away the blood from the Netflix show, it still is visually stunning. That's what this Daredevil show needs to be. The cast they have is talented. Vincent D'Onofrio is a fantastic Kingpin. They just use him a bit weirdly in Hawkeye. And Charlie Cox is just perfect as Matt Murdock. He hasn't skipped a beat. He was perfect in No Way Home. He was perfect in She-Hulk. And I need him to be perfect again in Daredevil Born Again. But to wrap things up, I am glad that they have scrapped Daredevil Born Again, considering that they looked at the footage and they went, this isn't working. So I do applaud and appreciate Marvel Studios and Disney for that. But on the other hand, why waste people's time and money? Also, apparently, the people on set when they were watching it being filmed found it boring. Like, all the ADs and all the runners and stuff, they were watching it being filmed and they were just like, this is boring. What's going on here? That's definitely not something you want to hear on set. Like, what the hell? I don't know, the whole situation's weird. Like, Marvel's doing a complete creative reset on the series, so hopefully they're bringing back Eldon Henson as Foggy Nelson, and they're bringing back Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page. They're keeping John Bernthal as Punisher. Apparently, they are going to still keep the footage they've shot, and they're just going to find a way to, like, work it into the new show. So, at least not all the work went to waste, but even still, I just hope we get a great Daredevil show. That's all I want. I just want a good Daredevil show. Like, it's Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. Like, I love them. I really want this to work for them, because they are, like, perfect casting, but also, if the show they were originally going to make wasn't going to be anything like the Netflix show, then why bring them back? But anyways, those are just my thoughts on the whole Daredevil Born Again situation. What do you guys think? Are you glad that they're scrapping it? Are you interested to see what they shot and how bad it was? If it was bad, let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all that good stuff. Until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time.